Chris and Matt back here with Life 180, talking about our, I guess this is our weekly or pseudo weekly training that we do. Last week we missed it because I was out of town speaking, or actually at a mastermind for a fund manager mastermind. But we are back this week. I'm actually going to miss next week too. I know this already, so maybe we'll plan on doing it Thursday next week or something fun like that. Okay. But anyway, so as you could tell, if you saw the thumbnail with this, the title of this is, well, the idea of this is Friends Don't Sell Friends IUL. And the title of the topic here is how to start your insurance career, right? And like, so, you know, we got on and Matt's like, Chris, you got to rename this. It's like, we're getting on IUL. It's like, no, yeah, we are. But we're coming from the lens of like, when we look at most IMOs, most independent marketing organizations, like your World Financial Groups, your PHPs, your other organizations that sell IUL or that build hierarchies that allow people to kind of build their own agency and kind of function like an entrepreneur in this insurance space. Most of it is circled around index universal life, right? And you know, so when we look at that, you know, I just, the whole friends don't let friends sell IUL thing. Like, first of all, I think Matt was like, we need to create a t-shirt, right? Like, I mean, like, I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to create a t-shirt that says friends don't sell friends IULs, right? Like friends don't let friends drink and drive. So like, don't let your friends buy IULs if you love them, right? Like that's really where it comes from. And so, you know, what we're going to talk about in this video is, you know, in this training today is talking about, all right, listen, we're going to spend a little time, obviously, beating up IUL because that's just, I can't help myself. But really, it's not about beating up IUL. It's really about focusing on like, all right, if Chris, like a lot of people think, all right, I don't know what else to do. What else can I do? What can I focus on? What should I be focusing on, right? And so I guess, you know, to start this conversation, let's not even start with whole life versus IUL or anything like that. Let's remove product from the conversation, Matt. And let's talk about the fact that when most people join, I'm just going to pick on World Financial Group because they're just the easy example because they're the biggest. When most people join an organization like World Financial Group or PHP or any of those, the process is typically sign up, make a list of people. Before you even know what you're talking about when it comes to understanding the product, it's a just trust me, don't question me, fill my calendar, let me sell your people, and by the way, go out and recruit a bunch of people to do what you're doing, right? Right. I mean, am I wrong on that? Like, am I missing anything? Like,
that's pretty much it. I mean, you could ask anybody. That is the process. There's probably little details, little variances, but that's basically the process.
Yeah. So with that, I think we can agree that that's not the way to go about if you really want to build a long-term sustainable business, right? Because there's a 93% failure rate after 3 years in this business. And the reason I think is because you got these organizations that have what I would call an internal consumption model. They don't really, I mean, yeah, they want you to succeed, but you know, they're not really putting their heart and energy into your success. They want you to do your side and fill their calendar so they can succeed. You know, whether you succeed or not, they're winning because they get access to your list. And that's, you know, that's a big part of the model, you know, so what, Matt, what would you say instead of just getting in and falling into that trap? You know, what would the process be that you think is best? Because the challenge is, I am going to step on people's toes. That's what I do today, man. I was just telling Matt, I feel frisky today, y'all. Somebody made a comment. I'm going to get into this. Somebody made a comment on a YouTube video right before we went live. And I was actually at a lunch meeting. And I get out and I see this comment and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy. Like, so I'll get into that after. But Matt, what, you know, like what, because you're good about helping people start and launch their careers and focus on the balance. Because I think there is an element of, there's a trap also in just like getting ready to get ready and thinking like that perfectionist mindset of thinking like you have to know everything before you do anything. And so I guess my question to you is, for people that are just starting in this business, where is the balance between, you know, knowing as much as Chris Kirkpatrick as a life insurance professional as far as how the products work, right? And starting knowing nothing and feeling like you got to make this journey to like be able to serve people. Like what say you?
Some of the different angles we can talk about. I mean, I think WFG, PHP, those models, they're really good at selling the crusade, like the why, like why we're gonna go out help people, which like I love, and I think that's what sucks people in. Like, man, I want to be part of something bigger than me, and I want to be somebody one day, and I want to help others. And so I think they do a great job sucking you in to the point you really don't pay attention what you're doing. They just say, do this, do this, do this, and you're just following, right? But if you were to sit down with anybody and instead of directing them what to do, and you just ask them questions like, hey, John, you want to start your insurance career. So I want to kind of gauge what your thoughts are. Do you think you should know exactly what you're selling before you sell? Or do you think you should just sell concepts and not exactly understand the product? What do you think? If you just asked everybody that, I would say 99.999% of people would say it would make sense. I understand the product before I sell it. But then if you look at what happens in those types of organization, most people are starting the business that is not even congruent with their values and beliefs. And they do it because just peer pressure. They do it because maybe stress of they need to make money. They're sold on this idea they can make money right away. They're sold on this crusade, this feeling. And that is one of the unique things that they're really good at. I've done it myself. I was a leader in one of those organizations. So I knew how to get somebody so freaking excited and just the emotion of it. They're willing to take any action, even if that action went against their actual true, values and beliefs and their comfort zone and stuff like that. And that's really the big problem. And so I think there's some good sides to those types of models as far as like you're saying, they do a great job because the enemy of action is thinking, right? And every time you think, you're thinking from your comfort zone. That's what's really causing it. And so it is better to be more action oriented than think. But at the same time, if you're talking about, changing people's lives and helping them financially, you have to know what you're selling. Like you have to know how it works, right? And that's the missing part in those types of organizations. And if I were to give advice to people, look, you do need to know your product, right? For sure. But there's a couple other things. Not only do you need to know your product, and we talked about this, and actually I talked about this in training last week, you got to just know how to even have a conversation first too, right? There's like multiple components to it before you go out and start selling people. You have to know how to ask those effective questions because you can't help people if you don't even understand their problems. And I see a lot of agents, they're trying to sell product, but they don't even know what the problems are that we're trying to solve here. And so I think it's a two-way street before you actually go out and sit with clients. One, you should know how to have a conversation, ask effective questions to gather appropriate amount of information so actually properly help them. And then two, you have to know your product. You don't have to be an all-out expert, but you should know it. But if you're not an expert, you should also have an upline that you can work with to kind of help you with that process. But in those types of organizations, it's just not like that. The upline doesn't tell you anything. Just don't worry about it. We'll handle it.
So true. And so I'm a nerd when it comes to like self-development. And you'll notice if anybody listens to a lot of my content, I am a quote machine. Like I like to take other people's stuff and apply it to what we do. And,
sure.
John Maxwell always says people don't care how much you know until you know something, or until they know how much you care, right? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. But once they find out how much you care, you better know something, right? And so the challenge is you like, and that whole comment comes around the fact that people don't make decisions based on logic. They make them based on emotion, right? And so it really is driving with why we do what we do, and people connecting with the emotional side of that decision-making process. But then once they find out how much you care, you better know something. That's the logic side. That's the same idea as saying people make decisions emotionally and then they validate their decisions with logic. Right. And the challenge is a lot of times that what happens with like these IUL IMOs is that they're really good at selling the vision and the dream and the mission, right? Yeah. And that is the emotion. The problem is when it gets to like but you better know something part of John Maxwell's quote, people don't know anything. They don't know how the product actually works. All they know is what the slide deck says and what I did a video. I don't know if you got a chance to see it. I'm going to put it in here. I'll see if I can find it. But I did a video reviewing Doug Andrew this last week. Doug did a video. I'll get it right here. Let me get the shareable link. I did a video reviewing his entire webinar. Okay, check this out. Like, so they do a sales webinar, and like, this is the classic part. This is why, and by the way, he's like one of the largest trainers of IUL in the world, right?
For sure.
And so you watch this video. So anybody that's selling IUL right now, go watch that webinar. And I promise you, everything Doug talks about and puts a spin on about how IUL is sold, I break it down and talk about the truth behind how he's selling it versus reality, right? And so what the challenge is, most people don't know the reality side of the coin, because all they've heard is the sales pitch side of the coin from people like Doug and their uplines and stuff like that. And so it's like, you think you know something, right? And you speak to it with authority because you feel like you know something, because Doug told you, right? Because your upline told you. And so you feel like you have some sort of authority, but the bottom line is you still don't really know how the internal workings of the product work. And so the reason we say friends don't sell friends IUL is because, listen, when you get into this business, what they do is they say, hey, go out, build your list, set up appointments, just listen to me, follow our script, don't question anything. If you want to learn how to make a lot of money and build a big business and drive a Ferrari and have a 20,000 square foot house and like do all these things, you got to just fall in line and do what we tell you to do. Like, any questioning of that process gets you ostracized. Fair enough?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the problem. And to me, that's the cultural moral hazard in those models. Like, and Matt will tell you, anybody that works with me will tell you, I am the opposite of that, right? Like, I want, even if you don't agree with me, I want you to push back, because you pushing back at me forces me to be better, right? Because if I can't get you, who wants to figure this out, to not make sense of it, and if it doesn't make sense to you, how do you expect to sell anybody else on it, right? And the challenge is, people go out and they follow their uplines, and they follow Doug blindly, and they go sell their people before they know what they're doing. And what you are doing is, the 100 people they had you put on the list that you handed over to your upline and that they did the appointment on, and you didn't understand, and that you recruited into the business and did all these things. They say be coachable. Yeah, exactly. Be coachable. I don't know. Like, yeah, I get the be coachable thing, but like, and yes, there is a truth. You got to be coachable, but there's also a part that you have a responsibility as a new agent to really, truly understand it.
Right.
And when you're asking questions, there's one thing, be coachable. All right. So let's talk about that real quick. Actually, let me finish this. When you, this is the problem with me in live video, right? Like, I go all over the map. So when you get into that spectrum and you're just following the line, you are going to ruin relationships. You will ruin friendships. You will ruin your family members' financial positioning, their financial futures, if you put them into a product that is not a good fit. That's why I always say the problem with World Financial Group and that modeling, not just them, but any company that emulates their model, which there are several out there, like PFA, PHP, WFG. Like, the problem with this is that it's taking this network marketing mindset, which, by the way, I have no problem with. I know there's a lot of people out there that hate it. I don't have a problem with it personally. I do have a problem with it in like intertwining financial advising and network marketing mindset. Because, like, listen, if you want to sell me face cream and I get it wrong, well, maybe I have a breakout or something. My life isn't all like torn up. Or maybe I'm on auto ship for a face cream and I'm like, this is garbage. Like, I don't want this anymore. Once somebody puts their life into an IUL, and there's no unwinding it typically, right? Every now and then we've been able to help people unwind it, but it's very hard to do. And so that's that. Now, going ahead here, Steve said, they say be coachable. All right, be coachable. What does that even mean? Like, be coachable to what? Like, I will say, Steve, yes, you need to be coachable. And Matt, I'm going to turn this over to you in a sec, because this is where you are really good. You should be coachable from being willing to reach out to people, getting outside of your comfort zone, doing activities that force you to stretch yourself. Being coachable means being willing to grow, being willing to do the work, being willing to take and do the activities. That's why, we launched, the Life 180 planner, and it's got a set of activities that you need to do every day. Be coachable to execute according to this every single day, something of that nature, even if it's not that, something to that accord. Being coachable doesn't mean just like take everything I say at face value. If I tell you whole life insurance or IUL or anything I say, even about IUL, don't just listen to me because I tell you to. I just want to open your mind, go cross-reference, go subscribe to Life Product Review, go find other third parties that don't have a horse in the race. If you think that I'm biased, but don't just dismiss me either. Like, think critically about these things. And so to me, being coachable has more to do with you being willing to do activities, not about you wanting to learn the product and the knowledge. And that's where it goes wrong over there. What, am I off on that?
Oh no. Well, they actually, you have to be coachable in this industry for sure. That's very, very important. But in those types of models, they actually use being coachable as a tool to get you to do things where you internally you feel like a battle, like a conflict, right? So for example, I remember I've heard a lot of leaders do this. So one of the things that we would have new agents come aboard, and right away we create a list. And that day we create a list, we're going to have you start making phone calls. So most people are not prepared for that. Could you imagine you don't know anybody, you go into an office, you're creating a list of friends and family. You're just wondering okay, I'll just go along with it. There's nothing to be afraid of. And then when you're done with that list, right then and there, they say, all right, pick up the phone. Let's call John. Let's call your dad. Right at that moment, internally, there's a battle. Okay, this doesn't seem right, right? And so they'll use moments like that. If you're unwilling to make the phone call, if you're unwilling to do what they tell you to do, they'll say that's not being coachable. And then they'll train on it in training every Tuesday and Wednesday. Hey guys, we met with agents and, coachability, this is how you make money, is being coachable. And they sell you the value of coachable, right? Being a coachable, which is a good value, right? Yeah. And then what they tell you is they give you specifics. We had agents that are unwilling to call their friends and family. Well, if you're not coachable, if you're not willing to call your friends and family, how are you going to succeed? And so they use coachability the wrong way to move people. And then they use your comfort zone. So anytime you ask questions about, hey, the IUL, it seems kind of, I don't know, there's some things about the IUL that doesn't make sense. They'll say, stop. That's your comfort zone. That's you finding a reason. That's you finding a reason, a justifiable reason why to quit. Stop it. Stop thinking. Just do it. Just make more phone calls. Just schedule more appointments. So they use those tools to literally turn it around on you.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of people just don't know what's going on. So they just, it's more uncomfortable for them to combat somebody that has a lot of experience. So they just kind of sit down and then just go along with the program. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's one of the very few things I know people that joined WFG, maybe they're not there anymore. They're probably thinking oh my gosh, I remember somebody said that to me, that I wasn't coachable for the wrong things, right? So it's misused for sure.
It's psychological warfare.
It is.
Man.
Oh, it
that's insane.
100%. You have no idea. It's not only psychological warfare, it is planned out strategic. It is so down to the T. If you're on a good team on WFG, I mean, good as in they know their productive stuff. There's some teams that they're horrible. But if you're on a good team, there is nothing. The minute that a new person comes to your company overview, it's like a drawn out play, like you're playing a game. You know exactly what's next and how to move the person forward. It's all pre-planned out. So, it's all by predictable outcome, what you say, how you say it. And, really throwing around that, hey, you're not being coachable right now, is such an easy tool that it's used often to get people to do things that they know internally, something's not right. I don't want to call my uncle. I don't even know what we're doing here. Or I think the biggest battle is a lot of times when you join those organizations, it's actually not you. It's not you that are going to sit down with your friends and family. What you have to do In most cases, you're going to have to schedule 5 to 10 appointments with your field trainer. So your field trainer, a lot of times, it might not even be your direct upline. A lot of times it's like the uplines, downline, where they're just trying to give them money, because at the end of the day, they look at you as a lead source, nothing else at this point, because you got to earn your way to be in the inner circle. So what they do is you're going to go on this appointment with a person you do not know, right? You don't know their character. You don't know anything about them. And now they're going to present something to your friends and family. And that's where I've seen it ruin relationships. Because I've seen sales agents, like WFG agents, their demeanor is like horrid. Like they have no manners. Not everybody, but I've seen those things play out where it's like their friends and family looking at you. How dare you bring this person in my house? You know what I mean? I've seen it so many times. And the reality is, your field trainer, here's a big problem. A lot of the field trainers that are taking new agents out on appointments, they're actually just learning the business themselves. Like, they don't even know what IULs are either. They just know how to go through the presentation. They just know the concepts. This page comes up, this is what I say. But if you ask them specifics about IUL, they're like, you know what? That's a great question. Write that down. We're going to go over that on training on Saturday. And that's how they go through the training. So it's.
I saw a short video this morning, and this is the problem with me. Anytime because I don't consume a lot of social media, right? I create a lot of content, obviously, but like, I'm so busy, I don't have usually a lot of time to sit and consume. And so the funny part was, this morning, I dropped my kid off to school, and I get home and I had a minute, and I popped open YouTube, and the craziest part was, like, the first video that comes across was a short with Doug Andrew. And the title of this video, you ready for this? The title of this video was, "You don't want an IUL if ... right? And I'm like, oh, this is going to be great, because I know Doug is going to be selling me on IULs. And his idea, his reasoning was, you don't want an IUL if you don't want to take advantage of market upside. That was his reason, right? And so the funny part about that is, I think I created this thing called the IUL challenge that says, like, we just came through the greatest bull run of all time. These IULs didn't capture any upside really in the greatest bull run of all time. And so, like, he's saying that you want it for upside, but yet you don't know. I don't know anybody that really gained any upside in having an IUL. You could say that the upside in the markets bailed out the IUL, so they didn't underperform as bad as they normally will, right? Like, it's the bull market is the only reason we have an IUL market right now at all. Because if the last 10 years was a normal market, nobody, this whole myth and smoke and mirrors charade of IUL would have ended a long time ago.
And I think even during the bull run that we just had, they lowered caps and participation rates, which is weird, right? And you said something that I always thought about. You said, not one time have policies under their surrender period or within like 10 years where the company has not made changes that would negatively affect the policyholder. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so true. They're constantly making changes. Why would you, if you knew that as a client, if up front, and if that was a disclaimer, and that's my thing, is like, hey, look, if you can sell an IUL by saying all the disclaimers and and they still buy, congratulations, it's on the client, right? But no client with common sense would buy an IUL if you say, hey, I just want to let you know how it really works, right? They're going to make changes to it. It's probably negatively affect you. I mean, if you list it out, the clients will be like, why would I want this? But the fact is they're not saying it. And that's really the big problem, right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's all about informed decisions. Like, I'm just a believer, you should never put your money into anything you don't understand, right? The problem with IUL, and the reason I'm writing my book, IUL Exposed, the truth about the most misrepresented product in financial history, is because it's the most misrepresented product in financial history. It's sold as a simplistic solution, as a one-size-fits-all problem solver for middle-class America, when in fact it's a highly complicated product. And like, you get marketers who are really good at marketing, that, listen, let's just say, and I don't even think it's this often, but let's just say 5% of the time an IUL policy does what it says it's going to do. That gives marketers the ability to go and take, hey, what's up, Chad? That gives marketers the ability to take one of those 5 out of 100 policies,
Right.
put it online and be like, look at what's going on. Yeah. So check this out on this video that I did with Doug as an example, this review. Do you know his son Emran was doing the presentation, right? And in there, they literally had the gall to say, you can double your money that you put into a policy in the first 10 years.
Right.
Not once in the history of an IUL policy has it doubled the money in the first 10 years of the policy. Not once. Like, so in what world, like, are they able to get away with this with compliance? And when you look at the disclaimers, at the very beginning of their presentation, it's basically like, no information in this video is an actual IUL policy. It's just supposed to show hypotheticals of the potential, right? It's like, it's just insanity. But the problem is, like, you gotta, like, you have to come into this industry. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you're selling whole life, if you're selling IUL, because listen, my journey has been, different, I guess, since I got into the business, because I started selling IULs. Even in my journey to starting to sell whole life insurance, I could tell you when I first started selling whole life insurance in 2014, at the end of 2014, like October 2014, it's almost a decade ago, I guess now, 9 years ago. Yeah. When I first started doing that, I thought of whole life, like I was all in on IUL, drank the Kool-Aid hardcore, realized I wasn't into it because of all the reasons that I preach against it, right? Then I realized, like, oh my gosh, whole life is what the solution is. And so then I became hardcore whole life, right? Like, and believe me, on the scale of comparison, I'm still hardcore whole life. Let me know. I can help you with the friends don't let friends sell IUL. Give me a call or email Chris at Life180. If somebody wants to help me design the t-shirt, let's do it. That'll be fun.
Oh, that'd be such a great shirt.
So email Chris at Life180 if you got ideas. I think we're dead set on that. We're going to do a conference and we're going to get that shirt out there. We'll start putting it on the YouTube channel and stuff. It'll be fun. Down below the video on YouTube, you can see all the swag and stuff. We'll put it on there. It'll be fun.
Dude, that'd be great.
But when I first started selling IUL or whole life, I had just pivoted because I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I thought I was into, right? And then the evolution of me, was like, all right, like we started getting into, thanks, Philip. We started getting into, real estate in 2014. And it's when I met Mike Wolf. And like, I still didn't know, like I've been learning, over the past 9 years. And, I think that's very normal. I'm not ashamed to say, like, listen, if you watch my content back in 2016, when I first started this channel versus, now, you're probably going to get some mixed messages, right? Because I've grown, I've changed, I've evolved. And, as I've gone through and you tune in 5-6 years from now, you're probably going to get some different messages. There's going to be a foundational element of this stuff of principles that are absolute, that don't change. Yes. But as the market changes, as the environments change, like strategies will change with it, but principles don't change. And the principle of investing in yourself, of having control of the results in your life, and making sure that the money and your financial strategy is in alignment with your values and beliefs, those principles will never change. Yeah. Right? The strategies of how to execute inside of those, the wrapper of those principles, that can change. Right. I don't know where I was going with that, but I think
I'm with you, man. I thought about this the other day, how grateful I am that I met you. Like, we kind of have this similar, journey. I've sold IUL.
You were pretty lucky.
9 years.
I gotta say.
And then, a lot of things happened in my life and changed companies. And I thought, I'm going to get back to building up my IUL business. And so in the preparation of that, I was making partnerships with people and let's do this. And I was watching YouTube, and that's when I came across your video. I'm thinking, like, who is this guy thinks he knows anything about IULs, right? And I try to do some research, try to find out, if I could talk with you or whatever, and come to find out I got a hold of you and you lived in Phoenix. And I'm thinking, like, oh my gosh, this is meant to be, right? So, and the fact that you came to my office physically and we just talked it through, I thought to myself, this is exactly when my life has changed. Like, it just went from, going this direction to the other. And I think a lot of IUL agents, when they talk with me, they're like, you don't have any credibility. Like, I've sold it longer than you and probably your whole team, right?
Right.
I understand it. Now, maybe not to like your level, but I understand it enough to where
Sure.
it's hurting more people than good, right?
Yeah.
And when I shifted from a business that I'm building with IULs, and now that what I know now, and building a business with helping people through dividend pay and whole life, infinite bank, and all these different strategies that we do,
Mm-hmm.
I can't even believe how much better it could be. Like this is, and I just want to share that with people. Like I just want them to know, like that desire to go out and make an impact and help people and make a difference. You could do it so much better doing with whole life, so much better.
Yeah.
And that's like kind of like my mission now. Like I really want to go out there and convert agents. Like, look, you probably won't like me in the beginning, but if you could just have, open your ear, be open, I think sooner than later you'll realize like, hey, maybe I've been thinking about things the wrong way, just like I did. Like you totally changed my whole paradigm here. And I just want to go out and do that for agents because I really feel like that's a huge movement,
Yeah.
big opportunity that we could do in the industry for sure.
Yeah, man. No, I mean, I think that's why we're doing what we're doing. We just want to, like, if you talk to anybody, I didn't start Life 180 because I wanted to, like build this big agency. It's grown into that, but I literally started Life 180 because I had so many people reaching out to me being like, hey, I'm in this company. I'm in PHP, I'm in PFA, I'm in World Financial Group, I'm in all these things, or I'm in one of these companies and I don't know what to do. Like I got here, I feel like I've been bait and switch. I don't know what to do. Where can I go? And I was like, I don't know. And so I kind of like Life 180 is really just like a solution to a problem, like that's it. That's it. So, all right. Somebody just wrote something. I had an old high school buddy reach out to me the other day wanting to chat about IULs. Haven't talked to him in 10 plus years. And now he's trying to sell me a policy.
He was on the list. He was on the list.
You got put on a list, my friend. And I guarantee you he's going to come with a friend to sell you. That's how it's going to go. By the way, like whatever. If he's got a person there that is there to like help and help them be successful, I don't begrudge that at all.
Yeah,
it's the behind the scenes that I begrudge, and it's the overall like philosophy of selling financial education to get people into an IUL when that's just not going to really do what it's sold as, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest problem.
And I think the biggest issue is a lot of people, the reason why they're so strung on IUL, I think for newer agents, it's an easier idea, like conceptually, that it's an investment alternative, which it's not.
No.
And they're like, and it just makes it so much easier because they pin the enemy. The enemy is the 401k. And then they show some of the benefits of IUL, like they compare it. And so for somebody that doesn't have experience, they're like, oh my gosh, why wouldn't everybody want the IUL? The 401k is the enemy. And they go on this crusade, and little do they know, I mean, man, there's 401ks out there with a match that did a lot better than IULs over the last 10 years. I'll tell you that. And
I had a guy, I gotta read this now, right? Because I think it's a good pivot, right? So like this guy wrote, I gotta find it. I'll pull it up on I'm gonna read this comment. Where is it here? All right, so this guy, wait, where'd it go? Oh my gosh, we've had so many comments in the last couple of minutes that it's not showing up. Hold on, let me pull. I did a video. Like the one that I exposed Doug Andrew. And well, I don't know where it went. Man, that's a bummer. Anyway, this guy, oh, here it is. I found it. This guy literally goes to me. This is his response. Ready? You're making a living. So this is on my Doug Andrew exposed intro video, right? Like, so I did a video for anybody who doesn't know, doing a video, just exposing everybody to like, it wasn't meant to like say Doug Andrew's a criminal.
Right.
It was meant to say like, do your research and due diligence. Like it's kind of a buyer beware situation, right? And I did this video basically showing people doing a search of Doug Andrew's legal issues and, kind of going from there. And so when we look at that, I did this video. And so on this, like I get comments all the time, obviously, of Doug Andrew apologists, effectively. And this guy said, you're making a living exposing people, but who are you? What is your background on how IUL works? You're killing people of options, and a lot of stuff you're saying is misquoted, blatantly wrong about IUL, as options for saving, and it's not investment. That it's tax-free income. If you knew, like, first of all, this guy's ability to write a full coherent sentence is horrible. But anyway, is that as options for savings, but it's not investment, that it's tax-free income. If you knew the IRS code and how loans work, it's tax-free income. If I knew how the IRS code and how loans work, you obviously ignore how all financial vehicles work for different people. Where are you saving your money? This guy says, and it's like, and my response, and I don't know, maybe I should have taken the high road, and usually I try, but like this guy said, seriously, watch some of my other content before you make comments like this and look foolish, because like, that's just ridiculous, right? Like, so, you know, I just like, you get so many people out there, like this is a classic example of a guy who just believes like, oh, look at the tax code. Guess what? The tax code is not written for IUL, everybody. The tax code is written for cash value life insurance. It was written before IUL even existed. It was written for whole life insurance.
Yeah.
and UL almost ruined it. Mm-hmm. And it got so bad that they had to replace UL with IUL. And now over the past 20 years, IUL has gotten worse and worse and worse. And it's about to ruin it for everybody. If you just go do some research on regulation AG 49, 49A, 49B, and you look at the risk that we have in illustration regulation overhaul, it's pretty grotesque, you know, in what's happening. Why is this video just 720p? Dude, I don't know. Probably because we're streaming on a site that's streaming it out across like 6 different social media channels. That's probably why. I don't know why though. I wish I could tell you. Maybe I can change a setting. I don't know. I'm not like the best when it comes to technology. I just do the best I can. Like, you know, I don't know.
Just stick with whole life.
I just say, just don't look at us. Just listen to what we're talking about. If I'm blurry, it's probably better for you anyway. You don't get to see my balding head. Anyway, I'm not sensitive about losing my hair at all. So it's just interesting when you see people like making comments like this. This guy, I guarantee you, emotionally, he's like, who is this Chris guy? Yeah. And who does he think he is talking about something? And meanwhile, he has no clue. He has no clue what's happening. And unfortunately, there's literally 100,000 plus agents out there that share his standing.
I used to be one of them. And I'm telling you, they do if you call it drinking the Kool-Aid, they really do a good job at selling the crusade and really with clarity, like the pinpointing, like who are the enemies, right? 401k is definitely the enemy. Conventional wisdom, the enemy. The government's the enemy. Taxes are the enemy. And then whole life. And man, I used to do training for like tons of agents every Tuesdays and Saturdays live in the office, right? Yeah. Before COVID and all that. Yeah. And I would do trainings all on whole life. And I would find people that had blogs and stuff and pick apart everything they said about IULs and whole life. And I think back, I'm like, how naive and ignorant was I, you know? But it goes to show you, like, when you're a part of, like, you know, it's probably in many studies, when you're part of a tribe, right? You want to defend the tribe at all costs, even if it's not logical. Like, you just want to defend it. And there's one of the things, man, you talk to anybody PHP at WFG, you can't even have a adult conversation, a debate, because they just start losing it. Emotions. All right. No, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, that's really the big problem. But I want to change that. I feel if we can have, you know, things like this, where we're going live and put out videos, then there's no confrontation, and maybe somebody will just sit down and take a peek, because that's what happened to me. I took a peek at one of your videos about IULs. I'm like, okay, what he's saying, I'm not sure, but it sounds logical. Let me watch another one. And after 3-4 videos, okay, I need to meet this person. I need on the phone. And then luckily, you know, you lived here in Phoenix, but I think what we're doing, hopefully, my goal is to really change the way a lot of these agents are looking at things, and hopefully they'll make a change for the better.
Yeah, man. I couldn't agree more. Well, okay. So we beat up IUL enough, right? And you know, as much fun as this is for me, let's pivot. And I would say if you want more like IUL education, I put that link for, you know, Doug up above. I would say go watch this after the fact. Don't go there right now, but I would say go. I'm going to put a video in the chat. Go watch this later, right? Like get this video, copy it, go watch it later because it's really, really good. And if you are an IUL person who's been trained by any of these organizations, you know, and you're following along, you're going to notice that this video is their sales script. It's probably very close to the sales script, if not better than the one you use, because Doug Andrew is a wizard when it comes to like positioning it as this amazing product, and nothing could be further from the truth. And so what I do is I listen to it and I basically call out all their bull crap. When it's bull crap, I call it as what it is. Yeah. And I let them know. So go check that out, and we'll that's awesome, Philip. That's cool. Philip was just watching it. So the title of this is How to Start Your Career Right. So we just told them what not to do, right? And it's interesting. Like I feel like IUL versus whole life is kind of like Democrat versus Republican right now, right? Like it's just it's like Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. You know, it's like, dang, here we go. And it's like it's literally that polarizing at this point in time in this industry. And you know, people, you know, listen, you don't have to like Donald Trump, you know, and the challenge is like, you know, you don't have to like Joe Biden, but like the problem is people that love Trump, they don't want to hear anything about Biden that would be, you know, it's just Biden's evil, right? Biden's evil. And Trump, if you're, you know, on the other side, Trump is evil. And it's not like, I'm not here to like tell you who's right and who's wrong. I have my own opinions. We're not going to get into that right now. It's a different video. But like that is what it is. And so, you know, I think we'd all be better served on all fronts if we could just be willing to have a constructive conversation around the conversation. Now, if you were in the Donald Trump camp and you thought Biden was a complete moron, you may still come to the same conclusion that Biden's a complete moron after the conversation, but at least like tone down the emotionality around it and have the conversation. Right. Ask critical questions. Mm-hmm. I'm a big believer there's too much confirmation bias in this business, right? People are seeking to back their opinion up. Mm-hmm. When if you really think of what the role of anybody that wants to take on any kind of fiduciary responsibility, even though as a life insurance agent, you are not a fiduciary. That's the other thing. All these agents saying, hey, I'm a fiduciary. No, you're not. No, you're not. Right? No, you're not. Yeah. Like you're an agent. Now, you may have the heart of a fiduciary, but legally, don't make no mistake about it. Fiduciary is a legal term and you are not a fiduciary. And that's why, like, if I had a nickel for every time I heard agents say that they're a fiduciary, they have a fiduciary responsibility. No, they don't. Me as a fund manager, I'll tell you what, we're launching a real estate investment fund right now. And it's had to get all registered with the SEC and we're doing all this different stuff. I had to go through a lot of training and I have a fiduciary responsibility with the fund. It's a completely different thing, right? Like and there's a lot, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of, legal exposure when you're a fiduciary, right? Like you don't have that when you're a life insurance agent. Who do I recommend? The best whole life insurance companies are, I'm assuming. Yes, you're a fiduciary when it comes to your real estate license. If you are selling certain like investment properties, you have a fiduciary responsibility to represent your client's best interests. Absolutely. And the hard part is you don't have that responsibility as a life insurance agent. And a lot of people position it as you do. So the best companies, somebody's asked who are the best companies. I'm going to answer that in a second. Let's talk about real quick. How do we, this is going back to the title, like how do you start your career? So first of all, I guess, you know, how do we do this?
You got to find a company that's in alignment with your values and beliefs.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people don't do enough research. They just join a company.
Well, I think because most people aren't, let's face it, like at least for me, I wasn't in high school or college being like, you know what I want to be when I get older? A life insurance agent, right? Like nobody seeks this out, right? Like it finds you. And a lot of times it finds you in times of economic need, right? So let's talk about that. Like, how do you balance that, right? Because it's hard. And I think that's one of the reasons that these companies function the way they do is they're preying on the fact that you need to make money, right? And so that need breeds desperation, which breeds a lot of times, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of times that breeds a level of compromise in people just to get by. It's like the ends justify the means, right? And I think that's where a lot of people talk themselves into doing something. So I'm trying, by the way, Joe, my side is blurry because my lens, if you'll notice, the Life 180 is clear. I'm blurry. My lens is having like a depth perception issue. Right? That's why I keep going forward and back. I'm trying to get it to focus on me, if you can't tell. But I can't get it to work, dude. I don't know what's going on. So I apologize. I'm sorry. I wish I had an answer, but this is the problem with going live. Sometimes it's just a little wonky. I wish I had an answer for you. If I were recording this, I could, shut the thing down and go click a button on my camera, but here we are. So the problem is most people are in a situation, maybe if I do this, now it's driving me nuts now that I know it's bothering other people. Nope, didn't work. So the challenge is what I would say. I'm going to just not look at myself. If you guys are looking at me being blurry bothers me, here, I'll just do this. You want me to talk? I'll put Matt up big. How about that? Yeah, everybody focus on Matt. No, I'm just joking. No, okay. So the problem is that that desperation, that need can breed desperation and can breed a compromise. And then what happens then is it breeds confirmation bias, right? Yeah. Because now, if you've done something and you sold yourself on the fact that, hey, if Matt brought me into a business selling IUL and I didn't know what I was doing, and Matt talked to me about doing IUL and how it was great for my family and all this stuff, and I trusted him, and then I got all my family and my friends into an IUL policy, and then now what am I doing emotionally? Not me, but most people, this is what they do. And not everybody's like this, but this is what most people do, is now they're going to say, well, if I'm wrong, that's going to make my life really hard. So I'm going to do everything I can to just go out and try to confirm that I was right, because then I can sleep better at night. And that's what most people do. And I'm not saying they get there in a bad way. I think most people get into selling IULs because of the fact that they want to help people. They just, unfortunately, you got the wrong crew of people, helping you figure that out. So this is that's why I say friends don't sell friends IULs. Like, you got to start with a product that you're never going to have to apologize for. And that's why I love Whole Life. That's why, we focus on financial structure, not investing. That's why my whole philosophy, I love, at this point in time, we're launching a real estate investment fund and we're doing things of that nature where, listen, there's risk on the table, but it's taken me 14 years in this business before I've felt confident in myself. I mean, a lot of people watch my content and they know what I know and what I share, and I'm very confident about what I do. But to take that next step of taking people's money on and having them risk it, it's taken me 14 years to get to that place where I'm comfortable doing that. You know what I mean? That's a lot, right? Because my philosophy up until literally 6 months ago was, I don't want to take that on. I want to take on only having the role of teaching you how to structure your life financially, put you into a product for savings that you can't lose your money on. That way, I did my job. Listen, man, Matt, I put you into a whole life policy. It was saving. You're supposed to leverage that for opportunity. Whatever you leverage it for opportunities on you. That's not my responsibility. I could coach you. I'll give you my advice. I'll help you. I'm here for you. But at the end of the day, you need to understand that when you take risk in something you understand. And, those are the values. Those are principles that we teach. And so, that's what we did. And that's what I love. And that's why we focus on structure the way we do, because still to this day, I think it's the most important part. Now, when you get into this business, I think that's I think you're going to go through an evolution as an agent of your level of understanding about the different products, the different problems that products can solve, right? You're going to become more and more refined on how you communicate about those products and, solutions, right? And I think that's, as you evolve, your spectrum, your sphere will evolve with it. You'll expand and you'll be able to do more things. But I think out of the gate, your job is to make sure, especially when you're starting, your job is to take the more conservative route always. Yeah. Always. because that's the only thing that's going to protect people from a long-term perspective. And you need to make sure you're working with somebody that incentivizes and encourages your quest for knowledge and your quest for growth, and encourages you challenging, hey, why do we do this? Why do we do that? Why do you say this product functions here this way and this way that way? And like, I could sell a whole life insurance policy to 10 different people for 10 different reasons, and they're all good reasons, right? Like, that's why I'm saying it's not the product. Even whole life, it's not good or bad. Is it good or bad for you? And is it good or bad for you? And is it sold for and designed in the way that you're looking to solve a specific problem, right? So still in that homeless kid looking for that real home. Yeah. I think that's a big thing. Now, somebody asked a question, any tips on gathering and selling referrals? Shane Richens on LinkedIn asked if there are any tips on gathering and selling referrals. I think what the question is, if I'm understanding it right, is like, all right, how do I get referrals from people I'm working with? And then how do I reach out to and sell to those referrals? I think that's what I'm hearing or reading there. And so, when we look at this, I think referrals are the lifeblood and should be the lifeblood of everybody's business. When you first start off, if you want to buy some leads, cool. I think everybody that's buying leads should also be focused on trying to generate your own leads, developing relationships, starting conversations with and networking with people. I'm a big believer, guys, when you first start in this business, and Matt, you may have a different, take on this, but like, Matt and I, just so everybody knows, we have a different way of doing things, right? Like, which is cool. We work on the same team. He's the director of agent development for Life 180 because he's better at getting agents faster results. If that's important, like I suck at that, quite frankly, because I'm Mr. like, just don't do anything until you're like totally like you got it all figured out, right? Like, which, by the way, is a disservice to you if you're a new agent, right? Like, because that's you'll be prepared, keep getting prepared to be prepared and all that stuff. And that's not going to help you, right? Because you'll go broke trying to learn how to serve people. And that's why we've created what we've done, is kind of like Matt's helping me create this kind of hybrid model where it's you need to get out and implement and execute and take action, but you also need to trust the people you're working with, and you need to trust the system, and you need to trust the philosophy, and the values and the beliefs have to be in alignment. And when you ask questions, you need to know that you're taking steps in the right direction, right? Like, and that your mentor is there. So Mark Mooney just wrote, he says, "I'm ready, Matt." So is he on the team already?
Yeah.
Oh, rock and roll.
He's in the process. Yep.
Awesome, brother. Welcome, man. That's awesome. So getting here though, when it comes to gathering referrals, you want to know what I have to say about gathering referrals?
What do you got?
Be referable.
That's great, right?
So one of the taglines, like I said, I love these like little one-liners, right?
That should be a t-shirt too. Be referable.
Yeah. Be referable, right? Yeah, seriously. See, we're coming up with all these memes. If you want to differentiate yourself in the marketplace, you can't do things the way everybody else does them, right? You have to show up and be different. If you want to be differentiated in the marketplace, you have to be different. That's all. It's that simple. Be referable. Be referable. I mean, that's it. And what does be referable mean? It means, listen, when I first talk to somebody, and guys, these are people that reach out and have watched my videos and opt in and say, hey, I want to have a clarity call. And I don't take all the calls, but a lot of our partners, my partners take the calls and deal with a lot of that. And I get brought in after the fact, but sometimes I'll take, maybe 1 out of 10 I'll take. So if you ever, are coming through and you get lucky to talk to me, that it's always a fun little conversation. But the thing with, having those calls is even though I know they're reaching out because they watch my videos and they're interested in life insurance, I never start with life insurance. I don't care. Like if you go in and try to sell somebody life insurance, you are doing them a disservice.
Sound like everybody else.
You're just like everybody else, and it's about you selling a product. And to me, if you want to be different, you got to show up differently. And what does that mean in the life insurance industry? It means stop thinking like a life insurance agent and start thinking like an entrepreneur.
Right.
And when I say that, what I'm saying is entrepreneurs do one thing only. They solve problems. So your job as a life insurance agent is not to sell life insurance. It's to have it's to first and foremost build yourself into an asset, right? And by that I mean build your level of knowledge and expertise about the products you solve, right? The products you sell and the problems they solve. That's what I meant. So the products you sell and the problems they solve. And if you master that understanding and your competency builds around the products you sell and the problems they solve, that's your competence. Now your confidence is going to go through the roof, right? Now, as your confidence goes up, you're going to be able to have more dynamic conversations. And when you talk to people, you're not going to have to figure out, like, how am I going to weave in? How I'm going to try to get them to sell and see the value of life insurance? No, you just have a conversation with them. You have a conversation with them about what's going on in their life, what's working, what's not working, how's their family doing? You know what I mean? But you can't do it. Once again, this isn't being done with one. Like a lot of times, people will be like, "All right, I'm going to ask all these questions. I'll find a way to slide into life insurance somehow." That's not what it's about. You have to genuinely just understand. Ask them questions about stuff to do with business, stuff to do with real estate investing, stuff to do with their goals and objectives. What's working? What's not? What's holding them up? A lot of times, you're going to find people are going to say, "You know what? I just can't get ahead. You know." I can't seem to save money. I can't seem to get, like I know I need to save money in my bank account, but like every time I do, something comes up. I got to replace my air conditioner. I got to do this. I got to do that, like whatever. And for me, like when that situation comes up, that's like, wow, that's interesting, like, and you figure out how you do it exactly. And I'm like when you have a personal relationship, you can be informal or more formal, like however you have that relationship. But like, the cool part is like when I hear that conversation, I think to myself like, wow, I could solve that problem for him. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that. And so I could speak to that. Right. So that is what I've been shown by companies, how to snake in that insurance pitch. Exactly. That's the problem. But the thing is if you want to do this and you want to do it long-term, right? You have to be referable. You have to be referable. You have to do well by people and you have to solve their problems. And if you do those things, like you're going to have a longer term relationship. You got to be willing to go slow to go fast, right? Like that. Don't try to one or two, close these people, because once again, if you're doing that, it could happen, but very seldom are you going to be able to close somebody in one or two calls, one or two meetings without it being about you pushing a sale, right? Yeah. And so it's a volume, it's activity, it's focusing on serving people, solving problems, and going from there. Now, Lee Pope said he partners with CPAs, partner with CPAs, but know what you're talking about first. Once again, what's a CPA's? Like now, what are you doing? You got to help the CPA solve their problems, right? Mm-hmm. We partner with CPAs, we partner with tax planners, we partner with charitable giving organizations. We partner with a lot of different, people. They all have different needs. Their clients have different needs, and our ability to show up and help them all solve their clients' problems is directly correlated to, what we do. We work with mortgage loan officers, right? Like one of the things, and we're actually launching a more formalized program about this right now, is to go out and work with mortgage officers and get them to get their license, because the mortgage office, listen, we're entrepreneurs, right? Yep. So what do? Mortgages in the mortgage industry and the real estate industry is getting kicked in the junk right now. Yeah. It's not good, right? Am I allowed to say that? It's getting kicked. It's not good. The octave level of their voices is getting higher and higher every single week, right? And it's getting brutal. So a lot of mortgage loan officers and a lot of real estate agents, they're sitting here going, man, I'm going to have to make some choices, right? Like, if I don't sell some more houses, if I don't sell some more mortgages, if I don't help some people do stuff, refis have dried up because rates are going through the roof, all these different things. The only houses that are selling for the most part, or mortgages that are being done, are those that have to be done through either divorce, moving, losing a job, some kind of major change in life. And so it's a much smaller segment of the market. And so what is it? What I believe is this is a cycle, right? And I don't want to see mortgage officers and real estate agents fall apart. I would rather say, hey, listen, I'm going to just speak to Philippe because he's here and I think he's a real estate agent, right? And I'm assuming he's got his life insurance license as well because he's here in the way he's been talking. But in the right, and real estate agents aren't making any money. Philippe's engaged with me. This is awesome. So if that's the case, and Philippe's a real estate agent and he's not a life insurance agent yet, but he's got a client database of people that he's served that probably need life insurance in some way, shape, or form. So why not, rather than make a complete overhaul on your life, get a life insurance license, right? Serve the same people. Don't just try to sell life insurance, but cultivate the relationship that you already have and go have conversations with them to figure out how you can serve them. And guess what? If you don't sell them a policy, no harm, no foul. The best part about a situation where like Philippe would be is that he'd be able to cross-reference that and he'd be able to say, listen, I've got this opportunity for you right now. If it's not for you right now, that's no problem. But I just, at doing what I do and how I serve my community and my, the people that are in my sphere, I just want to help you solve your problems. And I know there's a lot of different people with a lot of different needs and a lot of different exposures. So I just wanted to bring this to your attention that it's out there. And, if you do it from a way of not trying to sell, not needing, not from a place of scarcity, but a place of like service and abundance and value add and all this stuff, you can't help but win, right? And so, that's one of the things we're doing right now is creating a whole process of, mortgage and real estate agents having another way that they can monetize the relationships they already have without having to make a complete industry changeover, right? But I don't care if you came from the car P&C agency. Yes, it's another thing. We work with a lot of those because that market isn't slowing down as much as like real estate and mortgage. And that's why we're focusing there because there's a bigger need there right now. But honestly, the P&C agent, that's an easier, like integrating like whole life insurance sales into a P&C agency is the biggest no-brainer in the world. It's the biggest no-brainer in the world. And we've got a bunch of P&C agencies that have just joined us to do so, right? Because it just makes sense. And it's a seamless thing. And they think, but it can't be, so Chad is saying this, it can't be, just to use this as an example, it can't be Chad's going, how do I create another stream of revenue? And I want to sell life insurance just to make more money. It can't be about that. It's got to be about, hey, I've got this book of business and these people have a need that I'm not fulfilling. And I've got this license that I'm not taking advantage of to help them solve their problem. And if I don't do it, somebody else is going to, and they may not do it as well as I could do it. They may not do it with the right heart of service as I would do it. And so by me not doing it, I'm not doing my responsibility to take care of the people that are in my sphere of influence. That's the way I look at P&C agencies and doing this right. But the hard part is that there's a lot to it. So if you are a P&C agent and you want to add this in, you have to do it the right way. You have to partner with the right people. You have to have the right support. You got to have the right illustration support. You got to have the right client management support, the right underwriting support, the right, all of it, right? Like it's all got to be there. And so, that's that. What else you got, Matt?
Well, I think one of the things about the referrals, I just want to get back to the referrals.
Oh yeah.
And I think everything you said was spot on. Be referable. Mm-hmm. Put people first and be focused on solving problems. And you can't be focused on solving problems if you don't even know what questions to ask or you don't have effective questions. So there's a lot of layers to that. But I see one simple thing as far as referrals, just to kind of help him out, that I notice a lot of agents struggle with. Just ask. Even if you're not good, just ask. Just ask. Just ask for the referral. And what you'll find is maybe your first couple of months, you won't get any referrals. But as you learn how to be more valuable, be more referable, and put people first and build trust, and as you get better and you become, you build yourself as an asset, when every time you ask, since now it's a habit, you'll find that people will give you referrals. Simple thing. Just ask. I know a lot of people that have a lot of skills that don't even ask. And you can't get a referral if you don't ask. I mean, you can because somebody could refer voluntarily, but you have to ask.
Well, so think about it this way. I'm typing and talking at the same time here. So think about it this way. This is the way I look at it. The first thing you should do when you start in this business, the first thing is you should become your first client, period. Why? And the challenge that I have with this is not for like the reasons of like making money for your upline the way that like WFG tries to get you to become your own client or whatever. You need to be your first client because you need to go through the process of learning and asking critical questions. It allows you to dive deeper because you're investing in your own strategy, right? Hold on, life180.com if you need help. So, you got to become your own first client because like it gives you an opportunity, right? It gives you an opportunity to really learn on a deeper level. And it puts you in a position where if you aren't doing this, how can you go sell it to somebody else? How could you genuinely ask somebody else to do something that you're not authentically doing yourself, right? Like think about it. There's a disingenuousness to that people are going to see through. Right. And so you need to think about it through those terms. Now, on that side of things, like, okay, once you've done it, like when we talk about being referable and asking for referrals, well, it's going to be easier to sell if you have anybody else do it. And you think about it this way, like if you genuinely believe in it, it's going to help you sell more, right? Because it's going to be authentic, not because you're better at selling, just because it's going to be a more genuine process and people, you can't fake that stuff. Yeah. But then on top of that, once you go down that road and they buy, well, now you get to come at it from the angle of being like, hey, listen, when I first got into this business, the reason I got into this business is not because I was looking forward to doing this, because I didn't know what I didn't know, and I did it and I loved it and I wanted to share it with people. I'm sharing it with you, right? You're doing it, you're loving it. Is there anybody else you could think of that might want to experience the same process?
Right.
That's it. But if you skip the first part about you being your first client, you lose the ability to have that authentic chance to ask for a referral in that way.
For sure.
I don't know. That's my take. I don't know. Like, I think so often people are like, how do I do this? How do I get referrals? How do I sell more? How do I like just care more? Like show up more consistently. Be more. Life 180 is an acronym. Live more intentionally for excellence. Like just how do you do that? Well, show up every day and be intentional about how you organize your day and the questions you ask yourself every day and how you schedule your day. And, think about who do I want to connect with today? Reflect how you could have been better every day. Score yourself, grade yourself, force yourself to get better and better and better. Improve incrementally. 6 months from now, you're going to become somebody who you don't even realize you can, you are, like you could be. And so one of the things, it's not out yet, y'all, but we are launching the Life 180 Challenge. And so let's talk about this for a second, Matt. Matt's not even like fully apprised of this. I'm like dropping this on him. He's like, oh crap, we're going here. So I got to check something out. Actually, I gotta do this. Give me a sec. I'm doing, you guys are going to like this. I'm going to do this. People see, guys, you're going to get to know this about me. The more we do these lives, like I always like come in and then I'm like, yeah, we're working on all this cool stuff. Oh, it's not secure. That's not good. See, this is, we're working on all this cool stuff and, it's not working. Oh, it is working. Oh yeah. Check it out. This is awesome. All right, so everybody, I'm going to do something, and I'm probably going to piss somebody off at my company. We're doing it anyway. This is what we do. Check it out. So we are doing these planners. We just launched the planners. This is what I just gave you right here, showed you. This is what you need to run your business. We're running the Life 180 Challenge. You do not have to be an agent with Life 180. We encourage you to be to join us. And I think by the time you get through the challenge, you probably want to join us. But you don't have to be. The whole purpose of the challenge is to help you figure out how to run your business as a new agent or even as a successful agent. If you're not making at least 6 figures, this challenge is for you. That's really what it comes down to. Our goal is to get as many people through this process to 6 figures the next year, this is a 90-day challenge is basically what this is, a 90 days of business. You do this 4 times a year, you will win. I promise you, you'll get to 6 figures. If you do this 4 times a year and you dedicate and you're diligent and you show me that you've gone through this process, that you send me snapshots that you've been in your journal every single day and that you are being intentional about how you're trying to show up in people's lives and how you're organizing your day and you're focusing on the right activities, you're doing all these things. If you do this every day and you execute and you don't make 6 figures, I'll give you $1,000 next year. Like you can't do, that's how confident I am. The only thing holding you back is you. Period. And so October 17th, this challenge is launching. Now, full transparency, I just put a link in. If you don't see the link, it's HTTPS. You got to type that in, //planner.life180.com. I put the link in there. Check it out. Click on the link. It'll open up another page. That is a link that you can get to download the planner. Now, full transparency, I'm going to tell you, there's going to be an offer on the back side of the planner that you can get for whatever it is, $19. You can go to Amazon. You can get the planner for $49.97 or whatever it is, or you can get it on this link. It's $19. We literally, like, this planner link literally was just made this morning. It's like not even new. I don't even know if it's fully right. I know it's good. I know it's good enough. It'll work. Yeah. I don't know if all the automations are plugged in and completely, but you'll get it. You'll be all in the system. It'll be good to go. And so, and it'll give my guy, my IT guy, a real reason to like really get on his stuff and get it done. So that planner is going to be there. I'm expensive. It's $19. It's $19. I'm giving it to you for $19. And you do this, you're going to make 6 figures. Like, is that expensive? I asked, hey, Matt, I want you to spend $19 to make 100,000. Like, or let's just break it down into a quarter. It's 20,000, like it's the most, worthy money you'll ever have. Now the challenge is like an extra, I don't know, like $178, right? If you want to participate in the challenge and you're not on our team at Life 180, people on our team, it's, we're doing a completely different thing for them because obviously we can override their business and blah, 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 blah. Exactly. That's my thing. Spend $20 at Starbucks or, invest in yourself and make some money. So if you do the challenge, and if you're on the Life 180 team, reach out to Matt and we'll show you how to get in, and we'll plug you all in. He'll plug you through the system after I show him how to do it. And then, but if you're not on the Life 180 team already and you want to participate in the challenge, it will change your business. I promise you, it'll change the way you look at the industry. We're going to do 2 trainings live every single week from October 17th through the end of the year. And it's going to be a big push that not only is going to help you finish 2023 right, but it's going to set the foundation for you to have a 6-figure year in 2024. To me, that's what it's all about. How to set the foundation, because sometimes when you do this the right way, there's a process of setting the foundation and getting your whole pipeline built and serving and adding value. And like when you read the planner, it's going to make sense. I promise you that it will make sense, and it'll all click and you'll be like, oh my gosh, like this is a game changer. It tells you how to live your life, basically. And you don't even have to be a life insurance agent. Like this planner would help everybody. I just have some analytics in there.
Anybody.
Yeah, anybody. And you could customize the point system thing that we have for activity to whatever business that you're in. And eventually we may tweak it for life insurance or for real estate and mortgage and all that stuff. But for now, we are where we are. Now, here's the thing. The challenge, it's, if you're not on the Life 180 team, it just is what it is. It's 170 something extra dollars above the planner where we use the planner. But on top of that, we're going to walk through how to run your business, how to show up every single day, how to structure your day, how to have better conversations with people. We're going to have sales training. We're going to have marketing training. We're going to have online training. We're going to have marketing training. We're going to have all sorts of things that are going to help you show up and build every tool that we've utilized to build Life 180 into what it is. We took and we simplified it, and we're going to compress everything into one good package for you to be able to understand it and execute. There should be no reason that people are not able to build a solid, sustainable 6-figure business in the life insurance business. And for people that want to do it the right way, I'll tell you, if anybody joins this and they think they're going to try to sell IUL and I find it, I will hunt you down and, and go from there. Yeah, exactly. So, you know what? If you are interested, just go to planner.life180.com. Make sure you add the HTTPS in. For some reason, if you do it without that, it's showing as unsecured, but it is. So I got to have my IT guy fix that. But yeah, so do the https://planner.life180.com. Check that out. I look forward to having everybody in there. My goal is, so this deal, we're only doing it for the first 50 people that do it. The first 50 people that opt into the challenge are going to participate in it at that price. Everybody else, yep, perfect. If you copy that link, it goes there. Everybody else after the first 50, it's going to go to $397 for the challenge. So we want 50 bought in, engaged, committed people. We got a whole process. The one thing is we're also launching a new app that not anybody knows about except for a few people. But our group is going to be private in our own new private app that you'll get access to as you go through it. And, it'll like, if you order it, which Philip just did, it'll get mailed out on Monday is when they're actually starting to mail out. And you'll have it in plenty of time to start the challenge. And it'll be cool to start on the 17th. So this is something Matt and I have been talking about doing for a long time. Utilizing the planner as a way to, selfishly, we're doing this just saying, hey, listen, for Life 180, our culture, what we want to do with our team is really get people into operating every single day like this, because we know if we can get our people to focus on this, I don't want you to learn a sales script. I don't want you to learn a pitch deck on how to sell whole life. I want you to show up and figure out how to be more intentional about adding value into the people in your life. And that's what this is about. And if you do it in this way with the right mindset and the right activity, you're going to do so, and you're going to make money because people are going to understand it, and they're going to want to work with you. It's the law of attraction, right? Like you're just showing up and executing and being consistent, and you're being dependable, and you're going to build those relationships through it. And so that's the idea. Like, so we're doing that for the Life 180 agents, and it just got to the point where it's like, all right, what about all those people that are not? Because there's more people that are not with Life 180 that watch the channel and are in the industry. And honestly, my mission is way more than just like building an agency. I want to be able to serve and help agents all over. And so, this challenge, we got to monetize it though. Like we can't just like give it away. And so that's where we're charging for it. And I think the value still is what it is. How long does it take to get the link? Which link? The link, there will be an email that's sent to you that will get you access to some of the systems. Philip, just email Chris at life180.com as well. So I have your email, and I'll make sure my guy, because like I said, I knew I was going to tick somebody off, Philip. Maybe it's not ready yet. Maybe the link isn't sending out properly, and I might have been way preemptive with this, but this is just how I do things. We're just moving forward. So the Life 180 challenge, when you bought the planner, you should have gone to the next page, and it should have showed you an opportunity. There should have been another video with you having the ability to buy. And if it didn't do that, just let me know, and I can get you the link, and you can do it. And it'll be good to go. We'll figure it out. But anybody that wants it, go check it out. I think it's a really good value. I'd love to have anybody in there that's interested in being there. We're probably going to have between 50 and 75 agents in there. I think that's kind of the number I want to stick in, is the 50 to 75 range. And all right, cool, man. That's amazing. I look forward to seeing you in there, man. And like I said, email me, Philip. Either way, let me know. Make sure you're getting all the communication, so we know you're taken care of there. And anybody else that is ordering it, taking advantage of the planner and doing the challenge, make sure you're emailing me, and I'll make sure you get taken care of one way or the other. In case I was a little preemptive with sharing this. Full transparency, I warned you. that was maybe the case. But we'll make it right no matter what. I promise you that. It'll probably make it more than right. You'll have a benefit of better communication. So yeah, man, I'm excited about this, and I'm excited. The facilitation of this is going to be me and Matt, other leaders on the Life 180 team, focusing on, I'm going to have my guy Clark in there teaching like some of the back-end marketing stuff, how to build like some automation stuff, like to connect with clients better, how to generate more leads, how to market yourself better online. I'm going to do some stuff on YouTube video creation. I'm going to do some stuff on like different sales tactics. We're going to do daily management. Matt and I are going to role play. We're going to have like, I mean, it's going to be like the best training that you've ever seen. I mean, it's literally, we could charge $3,000 for it and it'd be worth it, but we're only going to charge $197. So anyway, that's that. Anything else from you? I'm getting tired. I'm talking too much.
Well, I think, the timing is awesome. Like I've worked with so many agents over the last decade, and it's around this time where I focus my team on next year. And I don't know how many agents I've worked with towards like December, they always say, Matt, next year's going to be different. They always say they could have done better. We reflect back on the year and say, you know what?
Yep.
I look at all the mistakes I made, or I could have worked harder, or whatever the case may be. But it's for sure. Like most agents I work with, they're like, next year, Matt, it's going to be my year next year. And I've seen agents year after year. It's like everything they dreamt of, like it didn't happen. Like it's the same thing over and over again. And it's one of the reasons why, like for me, like I've always started preparing agents for next year now, not December, not the week before New Year's, like now, to build a strong foundation of habits, to create a strategy and a plan, and to give agents like a track to run on. That way, when New Year's comes, you're running into next year, not just starting, right? And I think the 90-day challenge, I think it's so great for people to hop on now, because it doesn't even matter if you're with Life 180 or you're with another agency. I promise you, if you just go through every daily thing that's in there, everything that's set up, you attend training, you just commit. And the only commitment you're asked to do is something that you're in control of, right? And if you commit day in, day out, your next year will definitely look a lot different than last year, the year before, the year prior to that. And I know there's probably a lot of agents watching and they're thinking, every year it's like, I always say it's going to be my year, but it's the same as the year before, right? And a lot of the times it's because the agents, you guys are doing the same thing as you did the year before and tweak just a little bit, like something, little changes here and there. And maybe you just need a different person in your ear, maybe a different way to look at things, a different philosophy. And I think Chris and I, we've had a lot of experience in industry, but we just have a different viewpoint and a different perspective. And we found a lot of agents, it works for them. And if you haven't given us a shot, why not just give us a shot for 90 days and see what happens, right? Got nothing to lose. At the end of the day, you're going to become a better person. You're going to build yourself as an asset. Your business is going to grow. Regardless, your business will grow. And you have nothing to lose, and why not give it a shot? I think it'd be a whole exciting year for you if you went all in, for sure.
I love it, man. Well, and it's like how you finish is how you start. That's kind of what I teach people, is like, it's watch the Cowboys, right? Watch the Cowboys this last game when they played the Cardinals. Like they thought they were gonna just like take it for granted and like roll over the Cardinals, and then it hit halftime. They're like, holy crap, we're getting our butts handed to us. They thought they'd just be able to flip a switch and hit the auto button and like kick their butt, and they just couldn't, right? Like, and it's the same in life insurance. People think you're going to just be able to flip a switch and like, I'm going to just be productive and like 2024 is going to roll and I'm going to just kick butt. No, you're not. No, you're not. Like, you got to start building the habits. You got to start living intentionally for excellence. You've got to start surrounding yourself with people that are on the same mission as you, that have the same beliefs, that want to do the same things as you, want to have a positive impact in people that you want to have. And then you all elevate together. And that's why we're doing this. So I'm really, really excited. So,
it's going to be fun.
Awesome. Well, guys, hopefully you found value in this. Philip, thanks for being here, man. He said, he believes in us, Matt. I'm glad.
Let's do it. We'll have some fun.
Yeah, I do put people on blast. That is for sure. But Philip, I would say if you have any questions too, like reach out, man. Reach out to me, reach out to Matt, and Chris we trust. Oh boy. I'm not going to tell my wife anybody said that. She'll bust my chops. But like, if you need any help, man, you know, we're here. I know you'll be in the challenge, so you'll get plenty of it. But anybody, if you're struggling with a business, man, like we can help break through boundaries. If you're willing to grow, if you're willing to stretch and get outside of your comfort zone and like focus on the right activities to serve people, I think we have an obligation to do so. So that's it. So, all right, guys. Well, hopefully you found value in today. I had a lot of fun. It was fun rapping with you, Matt, for a bit. These are always fun. And that's it, guys. Until next time, have a blessed, inspirational week. We will see you. Yeah, probably next Thursday. Well, you can do next Thursday, right?
Yep.
We can make that work. All right.
Yes,
We're
sir.
going to not be Wednesday next week. It'll be Thursday. So I'm going to try to schedule these a little further in advance too, because you know how that goes. So anyway. All right, guys. Talk to you soon.